Now I'm starting off my top five Jay-Z albums with In My Lifetime Volume 1. A lot of people criticize this album for whatever reasons, by saying that he came and took over the Biggie style and, he took the city and ran with it. But I still feel like this was a dope album, personally. And my five favorite songs off this album would be track 1, track 3, track 2, track 7, and track 14. I don't have to say the name of the titles because you should already know what it is. And this still wasn't a great, album for our sales, but the body of work that I think he put into it, to me as a fan of it, showed me that Jay was going to be around for a minute, but still at this point, he didn't even know if he still wanted to continue to be a rapper. But I still feel like, this makes my list at number 5, because of obvious reasons. But let's move on to number 4. Now, getting to my number 4 pick, it will be Jay-Z's The Black Album, the album that basically was his retirement album, and a lot of people felt a lot of ways, but at the same time when this album dropped, this album was pretty dope. You got a couple people that feel like it was mediocre, some of the production wasn't up to par, but at the same time, I enjoyed this album, I think the year it came out, it was a good year. He did a lot of press and everything, and I actually remember being on the phone with one of my homies, and he was like, yo, I hear that Black Album in the background, it's dope as fuck, and I'm like, hell yeah, but 5 tracks off that's my favorite would be track 2, track 3, track 8, track 12, and track 13. I definitely feel like some of the songs could have been swapped out for something different, but at the same time, this is at a point where we thought Jay would never be in rap again, and I see that we was proven wrong, but still, this has to be on my list at number 4. Hitting my track, well, my number 3 choice would be The Blueprint, you dig? Definitely feel like this was a good album, a solid album, classic album. You could definitely play it all the way through. I had no problems with it, from the features to the production, the soulfulness of it, getting back to that Rockefeller sound. And I still play this album to this day, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, a lot of people say a lot of things about Jay-Z and his album, but you can debate that it's definitely a classic. My favorite tracks have to be track 1, track 2, track 6, track 9, and track 11 for obvious reasons. And this is just an album where it showed me that, I became, more inclined to check out Jay-Z's body of work from beginning to end. And this definitely was one of the albums that showed me, like, yeah, albums are not the same to this day, to where you can't put an album on and then let it play all the way through. And this definitely stands the test of time, in my personal opinion. Now we get into my number 2 choice, and a lot of people still will probably put this at number 1, but at the same time, we all know when this album dropped, nobody really cared about it. It was an album that came and went. It dropped, in 96, and you had so many other albums that would drop, Nas, Tupac, and so forth and so on, and it just seemed like this album definitely went under the radar. He did a strong movement with it, and you definitely got to respect him for that, for the independent grind. He paid for his own videos and everything like that. But the mafioso type vibe definitely was entering a new phase, and that really wasn't what it all was about. But definitely still was a classic album. From the sound, the sampling, this is what made it, so crazy. And my favorite tracks have to be track 2, track 3, 4, 8, and 14. Definitely a top pick. It's definitely not number 1 in my eyes, but definitely it made a good album. And yeah, let's get to number 1. Now we enter the number 1 top 5 Jay-Z albums in my personal opinion. It has to go to American Gangster. Now, at first when we heard about this, it was supposed to be the soundtrack to the Denzel movie American Gangster, but as you see, it was marketed as that, but we realized it's a Jay-Z album nevertheless, because of certain reasons why he couldn't say it was his album, because of business reasons and corporate reasons. The shit that he was talking about wouldn't be really approval of, that corporate world. But nevertheless, this was a Jay-Z that we all wanted after so many years. From the Black Album to Kingdom Come, and we finally hit with American Gangster, and he was talking that talk in a way where it was so creative and so dope. And the interviews that he led off with was just, wow, this album was crazy. My favorite tracks is 7, 8, 9, 11, and 13. Definitely a solid album. So there you go, man. This is my top 5. my top five Jay-Z albums. There you have it. You could take it for high it's worth. Let me know what's your top five Jay-Z albums. You know, from the beginning to now. You can even throw in all his other work from Unplugged to the Kanye album to whatever you figure to see what's your top five Jay-Z albums. You know what I mean? But these are mine. I hope you enjoyed the list. If not, let me know why in the comment section. But other than that, I'll holler at y'all. Thanks for watching. One.